okay? I feel like there is a female figure here in this spread who is really reaching out to you for help. And I feel like, we can only, that saying, we can only do so much. The other person has to want to help themselves, right? I feel like this person is very confused, blindfolded, okay? Blindfolded. It's like a centaur. The woman is like a centaur. She's got a body of a horse. She is fallen down. She has fallen. She is injured physically, emotionally. She is in a state where she's very vulnerable. But the fact that she's blindfolded indicates to me that it's a series of life decisions that has brought her to this point. There's somebody around you who's leaning on you heavily because she's going through some rough time. For some of you, this could be a sister, a best friend. I feel very strong female energy, a mother, a daughter, really strong female energy who is leaning on your strength. And I do sense that the devil energy is so strong that they need to come out of this situation on their own. This is normally a really strong woman, a centaur, possibly a Sagittarius, possibly a Capricorn, something with horns, okay? Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aries, Taurus even. And I'm also seeing as well, they're leaning on your strength, but they're also very draining and very difficult to be around. They're going through a period of in their life where they're not really sure what to do. And you can only do so much. They need to, willingly take off the blindfolds and look at the gravity of their situation. So I feel like it's a series of life choices that have brought them to this point, and they are in a position now where they can, they have the hindsight to remove the blindfold and to look at where they're going. And so your advice, your input, your guidance will not help this situation, unfortunately, because this is a person that needs to do it on their own. Okay, so I hope that you're able to understand, like, not only mentally, but emotionally, to understand to let go. And then I also feel for many of you, you're wanting to leave somebody, they won't leave you alone. You're wanting to divorce somebody, separate from somebody, break up with somebody, and they won't leave you alone. And then I also feel like for some of you, you might be unknowingly or knowingly involved with somebody who might have had like another relationship that you were not aware of. And I feel that you might have been made aware, in the month of November. And so you're trying to check yourself out of this situation. And there's still a lot of communication between you and this person. We have here the Three of Pentacles, busy bees, okay? Building a situation, and there are three people involved. Building a nest, building a family, but there are 3 people involved. And then we have as well the Three of Cups, 3 people involved in the situation. Swimming in circles, okay? So I feel like you might have been wrapped up and then caught up in this tide against your wishes. And now that we're in the spin cycle, we have to wait for everything to come out in the wash. We have to wait for the timer to ding before we can take the clothes out, because the doors are locked, right? When you're in that spin cycle, when there's still water inside that washer. So I feel like there's a situation here where there's an end in sight. There is as well a resolution, but it's very dependent upon like timing. So it's like you're thinking, next week, next month, next year, like there's an end in sight. You're waiting for that end date. And in the meantime, you don't really have a choice but to be in this state of suspension, this state of inactivity, the Hangman. So I definitely feel here, some of you, you might be wanting to get away from one person to start a relationship with someone new, but this person will not let you go. And then you might unknowingly or knowingly get yourself into a situation where somebody is in a relationship and they're telling you, I'm going to get separated, I'm going to get a divorce, give me a week, give me a month, give me a year, whatever it is. And you're waiting for things to just finish up. And so I feel like the love life area sector, it's sort of like that, going in circles. There's an end date. You're waiting for that end date. You're waiting for more information. You're waiting for finality. You're waiting on decisions. And in the meantime, all the other areas of your life seem to be really going well. We have here the self-employed person, the business person. So many of you, financially, you're in a really good space. You're self-sufficient, you're financially stable, you're able to take care of yourself, you don't need another person. It's when you get involved with other people, that's when they bring drama and chaos. And you're also like the anchor of stability. You have been for quite some time. And that's why all of these characters who are dealing with a lot of upheaval, they're coming to you presenting, their problems on a silver platter, and they're like, fix me, help me. And so don't let this energy spin you in circle and knock you off your center, because I feel like this is not something that we need to get involved in. I just finished the Libran reading and I told them, pick their battles. I feel like for you guys, it's not so much about picking your battles. It's really thinking about who are you fighting for and why you're fighting for this person. Who are you advocating for and why? You want to protect the people that you love. But in the process of fighting for them, you're stepping up. Does that mean that they're able to step down, or are they fighting alongside you, right? So we need to advocate for people who are willing to do the work as well. We can't be single-handedly fighting somebody else's battle, because that's not our karmic destiny, and interfering with somebody else's karma. I've seen this play out a lot, okay, with private readings that I've done for clients in life in general, and also with the people that I've dealt with. Where they fight other people's battles. They get embroiled in situations that they have no business being in. It's sort of like somebody is, their karmic destiny is like that, right? It's linear. And out of nowhere, you're intercepting and you're cutting off that karmic path for that person. And so source energy always returns to its source. And so rather than learning this the fastest way and possibly the easiest way, you're intercepting. And so the source has to divert and create a different path, which is longer, which is possibly harder for that person. Does that make sense? So I feel like if it is not your karmic destiny, if it is not your karma, don't get involved in it. No matter how much you love, no matter how much you feel like you're capable of doing this, of helping, of fighting this good fight, it is not your place. So practice loving detachment. And then I also feel like this is an ongoing issue for many of you guys for the past 3 months, for the past 3 years. And I feel as if you're tired, you're battle weary, you want to rest, you want it to stop, and you feel like, oh, we're at the last leg of the journey. I can't leave this situation alone. I can't leave this person alone. We're almost there. There's an end in sight. We're in the rinse cycle or the wash cycle. It's going to be done very, very soon. I can't give up now. And it's like maybe the lesson is for this person to walk that last leg of the journey on their own, and for you've gotten them there. Maybe you need to relinquish your energy and relinquish control so that they can walk that last phase on their own, so that you can draw back your energy, take care of yourself, because I feel that you need to take care of yourself, okay? Um, I'm seeing as well, some of you have been very, very active. I do feel pains in the lower extremity, like ankles, feet, walking around a lot, kind of like pushing yourself physically past your limits, being very busy, having to go to many places, running errands here, picking up this there, going to like multiple stores, multiple locations, wearing yourself really thin and feeling exhausted. And while all of this is happening, while you're doing this, you're operating on adrenaline. And then at the end of the day, you get home, you're about to go to sleep, and your body is just like exhausted, and within like a second, you're knocked out in bed, okay? So that is a sign that you just need to, prioritize your health, take care of yourself, get enough rest, and conserve that energy for yourself. I feel like I can't say this enough. Just please take care of yourself. All right. The holiday seasons are coming up, and you don't want to be under the weather for that. Okay. It's a time for us to spend with people we love, with friends and family, children, grandkids, meet new people that might be included in our family. It's an important time. And so you don't want to wear yourself out. You want to take better care of yourself, okay, Pisces? I'm a little bit concerned. So I'll leave it at that. The last three cards that I want to talk about here. I feel like this is when I was seeing the koi fish. So one of them is black. One of them, yeah, black and orange. So like it's predominantly orange with black spots, and then the other one is white with red. It's red with white spots, and it's swimming in a circular formation. So round and round and round we go. I feel that there is a lot of love between you and another person. What we have here is the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups. And, oh, I'm noticing this too. There's a fish in that circle, in that ring, okay? And the koi fish always indicates to me a lot of financial prosperity, okay? And this is a situation where I'm seeing as well, you're trying to create a legacy. You're trying to leave, I'm hearing for some of you, the will and testament. If I leave this world, who do I leave my riches, my glory, my legacy, my resources to? And this is what I was talking about earlier, where you have people that you love and you feel like they deserve it because, they've been amazing people. They're responsible, and you know that the money that you leave them or whatever you decide to leave them with, they'll make great use out of it. And there are other people that you might not love as much, but they need the resources a lot more, and you're hesitant because they're not very responsible. So whatever you leave them with, you don't think that they're going to be able to make the most out of it. So in a way, it is wasteful, but also in another way, they need it more. And so you're grappling with this ethical dilemma. I worked so hard for this, and I want to give it to people who I love, who deserves it. But then there's also this person who needs it. So I would say this situation is all about you deciding. So it's something that you've worked really hard for, okay? Whether it be a house that you paid off with your hard work and years of just, making on-time payments, you finally paid off the house. Give it to somebody that you feel the house would benefit. Somebody with children, someone with a family, okay? If it's money in the bank and you're just like, I worked so hard, the past 50 years of my life, and I want this to go somewhere, then give it to the person that you feel would make the most out of that money. So that could mean wise investment. That could mean, being able to take care of their family, whatever that means. I feel that your heart is divided. And when it comes to who we love and how we love, we want to give our all. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. Where I'm going with this is there isn't really a right or a wrong. It's our emotional attachments to an outcome in a decision that might make it seem like a right or a wrong. When it comes to giving, when it comes to intentions, if it's done with good intentions, there's never a right or a wrong. And so I feel like you're making this situation a lot more complicated because your emotions are muddled. You might feel like this one person really need the money because they don't have a lot, but you might have resentment towards them and you don't want to give them everything. Let go of that resentment. And then the decision will be very, I want to say, once you are able to let go of that resentment, the decision is going to be a lot easier to make. So I feel like there might be, this element about strings attached, wanting to give this person something with conditions attached. In order to get this, you have to do exactly this. And that could actually be a good incentive in order to get the other person to be more responsible. That might work. And then on the other hand, if you love somebody, give them whatever it is, because like a gift with good intentions, there is no wrong that can come out of it. Okay, so that's what I feel. I'm just sensing that you're torn between big decisions, and a lot of it is finance related. And the thing that is really, going unaddressed here is that resentment that you do feel towards a person. It's love-hate, okay? And it's not really love unless there's a little bit of resentment, unless there's a little bit of bickering and hatred associated with it, okay? So I feel like there's like tension, there's like tug of war and push and pull. And you're trying to figure out which direction to go in. You're trying to find your center. And I feel as well, itemizing, making a list of all your assets and dividing things up little by little might be a lot easier to manage, to handle, rather than looking at things as like, big chunks of things are harder to divide up. So if you can do that, it might make the decision-making process a lot easier for you, and it'll run a lot smoothly. So I hope that resonates, and I hope that is helpful for some of you who are dealing with this. I feel like there's an elephant in the room here. When I mentioned earlier that you're going around and round in a circle with another person, I started to talk about your love relationship, but it pulls me back to the other areas over here. So it keeps pulling this way. So I'm going to try to separate the energies. Ace of Cups, we're going to try this again. So this is a love situation going around and round with another person. And then I feel like there might be periods of time where you're talking and communicating and, planning for the future together. And then there might be periods of time where the two of you are like in total silence, okay? So I just feel like something is very cyclical. I also feel like there might have been recently a stoppage or a breakage in communication with the Four of Swords. This is a break. This is taking a break, getting some distance, withdrawing from a situation, mulling things over, needing time to rest and recuperate, feeling a little bit like inundated and overwhelmed by this love that you have for another person, feeling almost as if you love this person a lot And there's a lot of things that has to happen before the two of you can finally, celebrate your union together. There's a lot of like behind the scenes things that needs to be done. And so you're starting to wonder whether or not this breakthrough is going to happen. You're starting to wonder whether or not you're doomed to kind of like go round and round in circles with this person. I also feel that there might be important conversations in this relationship that are not being addressed. Two of Swords. It's like in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's the woman with the two swords, like right in front of her. She's like crisscrossing the two swords. She's warning, like, don't approach me. Okay? And it's also a situation where you're kind of like mulling things over at a standstill when it comes to a major decision-making process. And I feel like the energy is very similar here. Having the information, but choosing to ignore it. It's like ignorance is bliss. Okay? I'm going to stick my head in the sand and not have to deal with this. There's a situation here where you just feel like, I just want to be with that person. I don't care about anything else that's around me, around them. I just want us to come together in a union and disregard everything else. So you might be dealing with someone who's already in another relationship, and the two of you just want to be together, but your significant others, their significant others, will not let them go. And so you're waiting, and you're also questioning whether or not this is worth the wait. Some of you might be at a distance from the other person that you really care for, and you're waiting for them to come back. You're waiting for the reunion. And I also feel like it's a situation where the future is not really talked about. So you're not really able to comprehend, what is our future going to look like? What label can we put on our relationship? Are we dating? Are we still single? Are we exclusive? Are we, going to get engaged soon? Are we going to get married? So I feel like there's just a lot of questions that you have here with this regarding this relationship, where it's headed, where it's going. A lot of planning, a lot of conversation need to be had between you and this other person. But for whatever reason, I'm sensing somebody's walking on eggshells. Somebody might feel like a little bit of guilt. I have here the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords usually indicates to me like worries and anxieties, things that are keeping us up at night. Having our imagination or our imagination and suspicions run wild, and it's keeping us late at night, up very late at night.